How's it going, everybody? My name's Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. I'm a six-figure Amazon seller and full-time student, and in this video I'm going to be walking you through kind of the actual workflow that's involved in running an Amazon business and how I've been able to scale back my hours from working those long days, learning a lot, using tools by myself, to hiring out a team of now almost 10 people. So I'm going to be talking about how you can kind of lessen your workload, what's going to be involved when you're first starting selling on Amazon, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle and you want to learn how to kind of get some time off of you and put it onto some help. I'm going to be kind of helping you with that as well. If you are interested in selling on Amazon or you're already selling on Amazon, we do have a free Amazon Seller Discord down below. That is totally free, tons of great free resources in there. I'd love to see you in there, and we recently just hit 10,000 members. So hop in, there's a great community in there. I'd love to see you in there. So the first thing I wanted to break down here is just kind of what my day-to-day looks like. Currently, I've been doing Amazon selling for a little over 3 years now, so I've got a good amount of experience, and I'll kind of break down what I do every week because I know a lot of you are interested in that. So I would say I work probably 20 to 25 hours a week on my Amazon business, so really not a lot. And some weeks it's even less than that. It just depends on, for the most part, if there's any good deals running. That's basically all I do at this point. So I've been able to outsource my shipping. Full transparency, I've hired my sister who's in high school to do my prepping for me. You can also work with prep centers and stuff like that, but there's lots of opportunity to outsource your prepping there. If you do have a family friend or something that wants to make some money, that's a great way to outsource your prepping. So I have that outsourced, and then I also have my product sourcing outsourced. I do a little bit of product sourcing on my own still, especially for some high volume stuff, some more technical sourcing, which is what I'm doing a lot of these days. So I do spend a little bit more time sourcing recently than I would like to, but in my own business, that's probably what I spend the bulk of my time doing, is just sourcing some products and spending that money. For the most part, I'm literally just spending money when I'm clocked in, I guess, if you want to call it that. But really, it's not a ton. I probably spend money for an hour or two every day, and then the rest of my time is just spent on day-to-day problem solving, making decisions for my virtual assistant team, for the social media brand and stuff like that. But that's really my work week. But obviously, that's not how it started out for me. I didn't just suddenly stumble into a team and all I do is spend money, right? And that's probably where you're at in your business. You're probably running a one-man show. So when I was first starting, I personally sold used books for quite a while. So basically I would probably work, and keep in mind, I've been a full-time college student this whole time. So if you are in school or if you're running a job, don't let that stop you. It's definitely a grind, and you'll want to work towards outsourcing a lot of those things. So when I was first starting, I was sourcing used books. I was probably sourcing for 3 hours to 4 hours a day on average. And then I would prep all my own products. I think I was prepping once a week. I would do probably a full day of prep, so probably 6 to 8 hours of work, plus that 3 to 4 every day, and repricing and all that kind of stuff, and Amazon problem solving like we're all doing, answering customer messages, that kind of stuff, answering little complaints that Amazon has with your account. So all that kind of added up to probably at least 40 hours a week while I was still in school. And that's probably where a lot of you are at right now, where you're just working a ton. You're combining it with your job or your school or whatever else you got going on, because unfortunately you can't just drop everything else and suddenly start your own business, right? So that's probably where you're at right now. So the first thing that I was able to outsource was my prep, because I hired my sister. If you are obviously that's a fortunate circumstance that I have. I don't want to encourage you guys to rely on family or friends and that kind of stuff. I would highly encourage using a prep center. I've recently started working with iLogistics. I like them, but that's going to be a great way to kind of outsource your prep. That's going to be probably the most tedious, most easily outsourceable task in your business, especially if you're doing a arbitrage type business model. I know most of you guys, I think, are retail arbitrage based on some polls, but there should be a good amount of OA heads listening to this video as well. Or even if you're doing wholesale and you're doing all your prep still and you're limited on time, then maybe consider using a prep center. It will cost you money, obviously, but you have to think about the time that you're buying back by using that prep center. Maybe run some cost economics for your own business, figure out if that cost is worth it. So after I was able to outsource prep in that way, the next thing I did was outsource my product sourcing. And the way that I did that is just by leveraging virtual assistants. If you're not familiar, you can hire virtual assistants from all over the world. Generally, it's easiest to hire them from countries like the Philippines or Venezuela, I think, are the two that are fairly popular. There's some other South American countries you can hire VAs in. I'm sure there's opportunities all over the world. So I have a team in the Philippines that is able to source products for me remotely. If you're interested in hiring a VA for your own business, I have a specific video on that right up here. If you want to go check that out, it'll teach you how to hire a virtual assistant. But that's been a great way to kind of outsource my sourcing. I will say, if you are not spending more than probably $10,000 to $20,000 a month, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to hire a VA just because of the way the cost averaging would work with your products. You do need to be spending a good amount of money because your VA is probably going to cost you at least $500 a month, somewhere around there. Could be even higher if you want to hire better talent. That tends to be kind of the floor rate for a lot of virtual assistants in product sourcing. So that's something to keep in mind. Plus, they're going to need subscriptions like Tactical Arbitrage and all that good stuff. But the virtual assistants was how I was able to outsource my product sourcing, which was another awesome way to lessen my workload. And basically, that's it. It's just those two tasks that I've been able to outsource in my business, prep and sourcing. And basically, at this point, I am just doing the kind of more high-level decision making as far as pricing decisions, buying inventory. I guess I wouldn't really consider that high-level decision making, but it's not quite as menial as prepping products or clicking through thousands of Amazon pages. It's a lot more targeted. I think you should be leveraging your money to buy other people's time. That is how any business works. You have to be leveraging money to buy time because you don't have time, but you do have money as a business owner. So if you are not leveraging that money that you do have to buy time, then you're honestly not using your business correctly. You should use your business as a vehicle to buy other people's time. Because even outside of saving yourself that time, it's also going to help you make those higher level decisions to get to the point where within an Amazon business, maybe all you do is work with suppliers for wholesale or create products if you're a private label seller. So all that to say, Amazon is very far from passive income, especially when you're first starting. You're going to have tons of tasks that you need to actually run through. So real quick, if you're a brand new seller, here's kind of the tasks that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do sourcing, and then you're going to have to prep those products, and then you're going to have to ship those products. Then you're going to have to monitor those products through pricing, kind of monitoring your Amazon store. If any customers message, if any Amazon alerts come up, that is probably the next thing that I'll be outsourcing, is that Amazon account monitoring, so that I don't have to check for feedback removals and messages from buyers and that kind of stuff. If I was doing more FBM, I would probably have outsourced that a little bit more. But then at the far end of it, if you're doing FBA, then you're probably going to, or if you're doing FBM, sorry, you're going to have to be shipping a lot of those products out at that point after you're already pricing them. So there's just a lot that goes into it. And then obviously the whole cycle starts over again. So I would say there's those 5 main tasks. I'm probably missing 1 or 2 in there as well. But if you keep in mind all those tasks that you must do to run your Amazon business, it's super important to identify which of those tasks is eating the most of your time, which is worth the least money for you to devote your time into it versus putting someone else's time into it. Figure out which work requires your input, which work could be done by somebody else. If it's 70% is good, 90% is good, whatever meets your standards. So kind of identify those tasks that someone can do almost or better than you, and kind of outsource those tasks first to the point where you're able to get to the point where you're only working 20, 25, or maybe you want to work down to 5 hours a week. Hire someone to spend all your money for you. That's probably something that I'll be pursuing here pretty soon. But there's tons of opportunity within Amazon to leverage other people's time. That's super important. If you guys did get any value out of this video, feel free to help my business out. I've helped out yours, hopefully, and hit that subscribe button down below. Join our Discord server if you want to get some more free resources from us. Drop any questions down below. As always, I'm happy to answer those. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.